Have you ever stopped to think that the Earth itself may hold secrets that science has yet to uncover? Places where the laws of nature seem to fail, events that defy any explanation, and phenomena so strange that they don't even seem real, but they are. Today, you will delve into 50 natural phenomena that continue to leave scientists without answers and the world silent. We begin with an event that happens every year, in the same place, on the same date, but no one understands how. On the Mekong River in Thailand, bubbles of fire rise from the water and float up into the sky. Locals call them Naga fireballs and say they come from a sleeping dragon at the bottom of the river. There is no smell of gas, no concrete chemical explanation, just silent flames that appear and disappear. From fire to sky, in Alaska, there are records of mysterious sounds that come out of nowhere. Long, metallic sounds, as if the air itself is screaming. They are called the hum. No one knows for sure where they come from. There is no visible source, no electronic interference. Some hear it, others don't. But when it appears, it is impossible to ignore. Now imagine a lake where everything that enters petrifies. In Tanzania, Lake Natron has such an extreme chemical composition that it turns dead animals into veritable salt and lime sculptures. Birds seem frozen in time. The lake is reddish in color, has a surreal temperature and an acidity that burns living flesh, and yet it is inhabited by unique creatures. How is this possible? From hot to cold, in Russia, there is an area called the Well of Eternal Ice, where the temperature remains below zero even in the hottest summer. Even direct sunlight does not change the local climate. Scientists believe that there may be some underground flow of extremely cold air, but no one has managed to map the area completely. It is as if the Earth there is frozen inside. In Brazil, we have a city where compasses don't work. In São Tomé das Letras, in Minas Gerais, visitors report unexplained magnetic interference, lights in the sky and voices coming from the dense forest. Alternative researchers believe that the city is located on a global energy point. Skeptics, on the other hand, simply avoid talking about the subject. What if we talk about storms that never end? In Venezuela, the Catatumbo lightning has occurred almost every night, in the same spot in the sky, for centuries. Incessant lightning, no thunder. A natural light show that was once considered the largest lightning plant on the planet. Scientists try to connect it to the geography of the place, but to this day, no one explains why it never stops. Now think of a place where the sea glows in the dark. Literally. On some beaches in the Maldives in India, bioluminescent phytoplankton transform waves into streams of blue light, as if the ocean had gained a soul. It's beautiful, but also mysterious. In some cases, the phenomenon occurs on beaches that have never exhibited bioluminescence before, and then disappears for years. In the Baltic Sea, divers have found a perfectly circular formation on the ocean floor. It looks like a spaceship, and no one can explain how it got there. It has been called the Baltic anomaly, and the structure has right angles, symmetrical elevations, and a material that does not look like ordinary stone. Electronic equipment fails when it gets close, and no one can study it in depth. And in Antarctica, scientists have discovered a river of blood. Of course, it's not real blood, it's actually a stream of iron-rich underground water that oxidizes and turns a deep red when it comes into contact with air. But the weirdest thing? It's flowing from beneath a glacier that should be completely frozen. And it's been flowing there for over 1 million years. If you think you've seen it all, wait until you hear about the phenomenon of trees that weep stones. In a remote region of Albania, small, sharp stones are falling from the sky over a single village, always hitting the same houses. They're not meteorites. They're not rocks from the mountain. They just appear and fall with enough force to damage roofs. The mystery has persisted for decades, and no one knows why. In Iceland, the lights in the sky dance with such intensity that they seem to respond to the observer. The auroras there are different, more vibrant, more unstable and, in some cases, with sudden changes in shape. There are video records of auroras folding like snakes, forming symbols and disappearing in seconds. For some, they are just solar particles. For others, they are signals. In the United States, the Brown Mountain Mystery in North Carolina has defied any scientific explanation for more than 100 years. Floating lights appear at night over the mountains. They move, change color, rise, fall, and make no sound. They have been studied by NASA, universities, and the military. To this day, no definitive explanation has been accepted. Now travel to the Indian Ocean, where deep beneath the sea there is a current that sings. Known as the Julia Sound, this frequency was picked up by U.S. Navy microphones in 1999. A low, continuous sound that traveled thousands of miles of water. The origin? Completely unknown. Some have suggested that it could be a colossal creature, but there is no proof. In Iran, there is a geological formation called the Valley of Statues, where erosion has carved figures that look like humans, animals, towers, and columns. But the strangest thing is not the form, it is the silence. Visitors report that upon entering, all sounds disappear, no wind, no echo, no noise whatsoever. It's as if the sound is absorbed by the stone. Scientifically? Inexplicable. In Australia, a cave called Wolf Creek is the center of several anomalies. Clocks stop working, compasses spin nonsensically, and there are ancient reports of Aborigines avoiding the place because it was the home of a fallen star. Geologically, it is a meteor crater. But why do so many electromagnetic phenomena occur only there? And speaking of craters, in Turkmenistan there is the famous Gate to Hell. A natural gas field that was accidentally set on fire by Soviet scientists and never went out again. For more than 50 years, the crater has been emitting flames day and night, like an open mouth in the desert. But in recent years, reports of strange sounds and changes in the behavior of the flames have worried those who study the site. In Canada, the phenomenon of lightning paths intrigues residents. There are regions where lightning always strikes in the same sequence, as if guided by an invisible path. This defies the expected randomness of electrical discharges. Scientists are trying to link it to the composition of the soil, but there is still no fixed pattern. In Siberia, the light clock is a phenomenon that is still little known. On some nights, vertical columns of light appear in the sky, parallel to each other, like beams coming from space. They do not move, they do not emit a sound. They are visible for a few minutes and then disappear abruptly. They are not auroras, nor reflectors. But they appear out of nowhere. In Mexico, there is a lake called Crater Azul, where giant bubbles rise from the bottom and explode at the surface even though there is no volcanic gas present. The water is crystal clear, but divers report unusual pressure and muffled sounds, as if they are being watched. Sound equipment has picked up rhythmic noises that do not resemble any known marine animal. In Norway, the city of Hessdalen has been experiencing a phenomenon for decades that no one can explain: lights that float in the sky, hover over hills and then disappear with impossible speed. Called the Hessdalen lights, they have been observed by scientists, civilians, and military personnel. Some of them behave intelligently, changing direction, dividing and even reacting to human presence. In Guatemala, in the middle of a dense forest, there is a region where thunder occurs without clouds, without lightning, and without rain. The indigenous people call this place the land of hidden thunder. To this day, no geological formation has been identified that could justify the constant sound vibrations. Only noises, like drums coming from the ground. In the Philippines, there's a sea that breathes. Literally. Every so often, the waters of the Sulu Sea rise and fall slightly, as if they're inflating and deflating even though there's no obvious tide. The movement is so uniform that locals say the ocean has lungs. No current or wind can explain this precise rhythm. In Indonesia, there is a volcano whose flames are blue. Mount Ijen expels gases so hot that they ignite when they come into contact with the air, creating a surreal spectacle of fluorescent blue lava. Science knows the chemical mechanism, but the origin of the amount of sulfur and the constant persistence of the phenomenon are still a mystery. Returning to Brazil, in the interior of Piauí, there are reports of dust rain that occurs in a localized manner, under clear skies. The phenomenon occurs in an area of just a few meters, with fine, dark particles that disappear minutes later. Obama has already investigated, but nothing has been proven. Residents say that the ground breathes upwards. In Scotland, the skies over Edinburgh occasionally light up with sporadic flashes, even on clear nights. Called ghost lights, these flashes are not caused by lightning or electrical activity. They appear suddenly, like lights flickering on and off in the sky. Aircraft have reported interference with their systems during these episodes. In Madagascar, there is a stone that sings. Literally. The Ambadalampi stone emits harmonic sounds when touched or even when the wind passes through it. It's not a bell. It's not metal. It is a solid geological formation that vibrates like a string instrument when struck at the right point. The mystery is, why only her? At the bottom of the Pacific Ocean, perfect whirlpools measuring over 150 kilometers in diameter have been recorded. They spin with such precision and force that they affect the ocean currents around them. But what intrigues scientists the most is that they do not dissipate over time. Some persist for weeks and then disappear overnight. And in southern Argentina, there is a circular forest where the trees all grow in the same curve. None of them are straight. The pattern is so exact that it seems planned, but there is no visible human intervention, no climatic explanation. Some believe that the Earth there has a deformed magnetic field. Others avoid the place. In South Africa, there's a gorge where sound disappears. Literally. Any noise you make, footsteps, shouts, or clapping, is swallowed up by the rocks. Researchers believe it may be the result of a geological formation that absorbs sound waves in an unusual way. But the sensation of talking and not hearing yourself is so strange that even locals avoid crossing this spot alone. In Iceland, a beach called Reynistri emits a high-pitched sound at dusk. The waves, as they retreat, drag rounded volcanic stones that vibrate and create a sound similar to a natural harp. But this sound doesn't always happen. It appears on random days, even under identical wind and tide conditions. An Icelandic musician tried to reproduce it and failed. It seems that only nature can do it. In Japan, in a mountainous village called Aokigahara, yes, the same one as the forest, there are records of trees changing color in the middle of summer, as if anticipating autumn. Biologists analyzed the composition of the soil, the variation in light, but found no clear explanation. The leaves turn yellow, fall off and sprout again out of season. In Greenland, ice holes have been appearing in isolated areas, all hexagonal in shape. They are too perfect to be natural, and yet they are. Satellites have detected more than 300 occurrences in just 1 year. The pattern is repeated: 6 sides, straight edges, smooth bottom. No climate theory has explained why they form with such symmetry. In the deserts of Iran, there are areas where fireballs appear floating above the ground during colder mornings. Witnesses say that the spheres move slowly, like living lanterns, and then disappear into thin air. They are not meteorites, nor are they spontaneous fires. They have even been recorded by drones, but no one has been able to get close enough to measure or touch them. In Sweden, an underground river known as the Silent River has a remarkable characteristic: the water flows without making any sound. It flows quickly, but there are no bubbles or rushing sounds. Geologists have investigated it and suggest a unique underground acoustic structure, but the mystery remains. And the silence there is deafening. In Mozambique, there are reports of inverted rain. Instead of drops falling from the sky, dense mist appears to rise from the ground, forming droplets that accumulate from below on leaves, houses, and clothing. It is not fog. It is as if vapor from the earth is condensing with unusual force. Elders say it is the ground calling for water. In Fiji, ancient fishermen tell of ghost waves. Giant waves that appear in calm seas, without wind, without storms and without continuity. A single wall of water up to 10 meters high appears on the horizon, advances, breaks on the beach and disappears. There are no earthquakes, no tsunamis, no early warning. Just silence after the knock. In New Zealand, entire hills vibrate on certain nights. Visitors report feeling the ground shake slightly, as if someone were walking beneath their feet. Seismographs don't detect earthquakes. It's something else, as if the ground itself is alive. And this shaking only happens on nights with a full moon. Finally, in the mountains of Nepal, climbers report hearing singing at night, coming from high up in the mountains. Human sounds, voices in chorus, as if a temple were hidden within the snow. But there is no temple there, nor village. Just ice, stone and voices no one can hear. Nature is beautiful, yes. But it is also full of enigmas, forces that operate beyond our logic, events that defy science, and moments that remind us we still know very little about the place we live. If you enjoyed this journey through the strangest phenomena on Earth, leave a like, activate the bell and comment here. Which one of these gave you the most goosebumps?